guitar can be a lot like playing chess, where you're anticipating the next move, planning in advance where you're going to go, just like a storytelling experience where you start somewhere and you know the end result before the listener knows, and that creates something organic, something flowing, something oftentimes melodic. That's exactly what we're going to work on today, and it's easier than you think. But first, this. Hi, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players like you find your voice on the instrument, develop it, to tell your own personal musical story. And today is all about making that story coherent. Stories go from one place to the other without abrupt transitions. That's what we're going to work on today. And in order to do that, we need to know where we're going. We need to plan ahead as much as we can. Sometimes we can't when we're in a free-form jam and we don't really know what the other players are going to do. But if you do this enough, you'll have a sense of where the music is going. So what I'm talking about here is targeting notes that you want to target. Every note, 12 notes, 12 of them, have different meanings. This has everything to do with intervals. If I consider an open E string, for example, to be my root, everything I play is going to be attracted to that. These notes all have different meanings, right? And it's that truth that we're going to exploit when we're building our solos and targeting the right tones. And when I say right tones, I don't mean this as a rule that you absolutely have to follow. I think the right tone is the one that you are planning to target, whether that fits the scale or not. As long as you're intending to play, to have that end result happen, then it was the right tone. If I'm thinking about this note in my solo, and I hit this, that's the wrong note. That's all with your intent. Okay, but I'm going to make some generalizations here. Typically, there are some notes that are safer than others that you want to target in order to make the most sense to most people. And those notes are typically found in the chord that you're playing over. So if we have a 4-note chord, for example, we'll use a D minor 7, which is made of a root, a minor 3rd, 5th, minor 7th. Those notes are going to be the super safe notes because they fit that chord that you're playing over. I happen to have a vamp here that uses that chord. Here's the D minor 7 vamp. And I can hit within that, that vamp, one of the 4 notes made of the vamp. I'm going to be super safe. So let's give that a try. I'm going to change to my lead tone here. And we'll try to target one of these 4 notes. So again, the 4 notes in D minor 7 will be root, minor 3rd, 5th, and minor 7th. I'm going to target these. Right? It sounded very melodic because I was hitting one of those notes. Now, if I play an outside note, that's going to be a little more open. And we can go there if we intend to hit those notes. But for this purpose, we're going to hit only the notes of the chord. We're actually going to use a chord progression, 2 chords. The first one was D minor 7 that we just heard here. And the second one is going to be C major 7. It's going to sound something like this. Okay, and we're going to go back and forth between the first one, which is D minor 7, right here. So I'm going to target the notes of D minor 7, and then C major 7. All right. First, let me show you what you do not want to do. You don't want to take these 2 chords, combine them together, create a scale, in this case D dorian, and just improvise over D dorian because it's going to result in something a little predictable. Right? That kind of improv doesn't necessarily fit the chords. It sounds okay. I'm not hitting any wrong notes, but it's not, if I just played the solo outside of the chords, you wouldn't really know what I'm playing over. We're avoiding that. We're targeting the notes. So for that, first of all, you need to know when the change is going to happen. In this case, we have our backing track here. We've got 2 bars, 3rd bar, every 2 bar, 1, 2, we're going to change chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Here's the new chord. So one, on the first bar and the 3rd bar, that's where we're going to want to reach those targets. Let's talk about those targets really quick. Quick reminder, you've got to decide on the zone of the fretboard to start with, okay? And in this case, we're going to use this zone of the fretboard between frets 10 and 13. And we're going to narrow both chords to that zone of the fretboard. So if we look at the first chord, D minor 7, we have this type of arpeggio. That's the root, that's a D, minor 3rd, 5th, minor 7th, and then you can repeat that, an octave higher. Those are the first target notes. Then we have a C major 7. We need to find a C in this area of the fretboard. We have one right here on the 4th string, 10th fret. And we have a root, major 3rd, 5th, major 7th, root, major 3rd, and so forth. So those are the target notes. So you need to know your arpeggios here. And by the way, I should have mentioned this, but you can download the charts for this lesson and the backing track for free. I'll tell you more about it later. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know where it is, right? Anyways, okay, so those are the target notes. In between, we're going to let our ear kind of guide us. We can, combine both chords together to create a scale, in this case, D dorian. So in between, we can phrase with D dorian, D minor pentatonic. It's going to work, but make sure you target those notes. We're not going to start targeting all the notes. We're just going to select one. We'll use the 3rd, for example. So in that zone of the fretboard that we're working on, we need to find where the 3rds are. For the D minor 7, we have a 3rd on the low E string 13th fret. We also have one on the 3rd string 10th fret. And we have another one on the high E string 13th fret. So those are the target notes for that first chord. The second chord, C major 7, we have a 3rd, that's our C right here. We have a major 3rd on the 3rd string 9th fret. And we have that an octave lower also on the low E string 12th fret, high E string 12th fret. So those are the target tones for this first exercise. Okay, so on D, we have the minor 3rd. And on C, we have the major 3rd. Okay, so let's give that a try. I'm going to start my improv with that D minor 7 chord. That is the major 3rd. Very simple phrases. It's the major 3rd. So you need to visualize, all the 3rds. Like for the D minor 7, and then we have. Notice how they're only separated a half step apart. That's kind of cool. And once you get comfortable with that, you can maybe approach it with some chromatic passages. Start really simple. Simple ideas are going to resonate with the listener a lot better than more complex ones. And I know that there is always this temptation to play the fast stuff, the technical things that are fun and great, nothing against those. But if you can learn how to develop something simple, melodic, that the listener can just take with them and even sing, captivate the audience with something he remember, hook him, then you can throw at him more complex things. But learning how to do this is really going to make your improvisation stand out a little bit, be more musical. It's going to force you to really listen to what the other people are doing, which is not always, I should say, the case with guitar players. And create something that works with every other instruments in the band. You're not the only one that needs to be served on a silver platter. Everyone is creating that thing. It's an organic thing, and it's really going to help everything. Not only your technique, your musicality too, your understanding of music theory, your ear, all that is being developed with that. As I mentioned before, you can get the charts and the backing track for this lesson for free. All you need to do is visit the link below, enter a valid email address, and I'll be sending you that right away so you can practice along and keep this in mind with anything you do. It's not a stylistic lesson. It works with anything, any genres, and it's really going to help you, I think, develop your personal voice on the instrument. Thanks so much for watching this video. If this was your first visit on the channel, you should subscribe, because every week 3 lessons like this one come out, helping guitar players like you find your voice on the instrument, develop it to tell your own personal musical story. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Practice well.